So I'm going to continue our focus on joy as an awakening factor and really extend right from Jay's beautiful talk. She invited us to think about joy beyond the narrow definition we often have in our culture and society. And I really just want to build on that and explore the range of ways that we can experience joy in this practice and in our lives, which may move us beyond a little bit beyond joy as an awakening factor, but it felt really important. And I think, honestly, I needed an opportunity to think about all the kinds of joy that might be here that we can experience on and off the cushion. And joy really, to me, feels connected to our aliveness and especially to the heart, right? An expansion of the heart, movement of the heart, an opening or settling of the heart, the knowing we can sometimes experience in the heart. And I wanted to kind of have a quote by Joseph Campbell just to guide this talk a little bit. He said, "People say that what we're all seeking is a meaning for life. I don't think that's what we're really seeking. I think that what we're seeking is an experience of being alive, so that our life experiences on the purely physical plane will have resonances with our own innermost being and reality, so that we actually feel the rapture of being alive." Really loved that, the rapture of being alive. It feels to me that this is joy in all of its various permutations. And so, first, I wanted to just share a little bit about, and Jay did this as well, some of the ways that joy can show up in our practice or as the fruit of our practice. And first, seeing clearly how things are can be such a relief, right? When we can notice impermanence, when we can maybe understand the nature of suffering, when we can recognize, no separate self, right? And we can maybe for a moment feel freedom from or settle back from those patterns of selfing, of constantly having to shore up a solid sense of me. And related to that, there's that kind of joy in the freedom from grasping and pushing away, from that constant aversion and craving. We learn to recognize that pattern, to slow it down, and in moments, a little bit of relief and space from that, which is a lot to celebrate. Strangely enough, there can be a joy even in concentration. Being able to steady and quiet the mind, to experience our energies settling down from that kind of constant habitual activation and agitation. And the Buddha described this as the rapture and bliss born of samadhi. And the joy sometimes even just of knowing from a place of mindfulness, I'm knowing that thought. Oh, I see that story. I'm not 100% in it. That little bit of separation can be such a relief. And again, something to appreciate and enjoy and drink in. And simply connecting, maybe simply connecting to the breath as it is, or bird song, just as it is. When equanimity is present in our hearts and minds and our practice, there can be some joy and relief in that, peace in that. The Buddha described this as the pleasant abiding of equanimity. And I also wanted to name, um, I think we're all in moments also experiencing the joy and the hope in being able to open to our vulnerability more in this practice. to hold our tender places with a little more care and patience and understanding, and even honor some of the sensitivity and vulnerability we might carry. And as we can do that for ourselves more, we can even extend that to others and feel that, and the relief and joy of welcoming all aspects of ourselves and others. And I think this also connects to the joy that can be felt with compassion, and that it actually feels good to care about suffering, our own and that of others, which to me is very different from being kind of overwhelmed and crushed and distraught over suffering, which of course can happen. All of us can feel that. But that compassion actually feels good. The heart opens and is alive, resonates, cares for the pain of life, doesn't have to close off from it. And I was thinking also about the joy of ethical practice and sila, right? As we bring this practice more and more into our lives, there is that joy and relief and peace inside of knowing that we are not causing harm, that we're orienting to doing what we hope is for the benefit of all beings. And the Buddha again used some similar words: bliss, the bliss of blamelessness. And so we can appreciate and notice that. And then I was thinking also about the refuges in this practice, and the joy of that, of taking refuge in the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, and how much that is needed now and can bring uplift. And so, taking refuge in the Buddha, we can practice appreciating, recognizing the qualities of the Buddha. We can feel into our own capacity to be like him, our own worthiness and capacity for insight and love, awakening. We can, in moments, feel into everyone has this capacity. Everyone actually has Buddha nature. And this can bring some relief and hope and a kind of joy, right? Freedom from our own habitual judgments of ourselves and others. And refuge in the Dhamma, the joy that can come from that, just having these teachings, being connected to them, and this opportunity to learn in this way. The joy of Sangha, right? I know Susan talked about this last week, but just the ability to have connection and fellowship in this path, to know that others too are trying to grow and open and learn and helping us with that. It can be a lot of uplift. So even just with that, this is sort of related to our practice. If you can feel the whole range of kind of textures of joy that there can be, and how they do bring a greater sense of aliveness and presence. And then, of course, I thought about the joy of gratitude and appreciation, right? When we really can feel thankful. Um, I had a moment recently where I had to work late. And by the time I got to bed, I got there and my partner was asleep, and our cat was asleep in his cat bed in the bed, right? Because of course he has a bed in the bed. And and there was just this moment of like, oh, it's so peaceful, and I'm so lucky to have this kind of safe comfort and connection and love. And I thought about Bill's, it may not always be so. And just how that allowed me to just be present for that, the joy of my gratitude and appreciation. And I think with this can be contentment, which Jay mentioned as well. just these moments of like, oh, it's more than enough. We can kind of set down, always trying to optimize or get more, or do more, and be more, and just really be satisfied with what's here. And then uh, the gratitude of mindfulness with just simple tasks in life. We can notice the water coming out of the faucet. What a gift to be able to wash the dishes, to kind of cook a meal, chop the vegetables, to have clean laundry to fold. Just the simple tasks of caring for our homes or our bodies, appreciating when the body works and functions in health, not taking any of that for granted, not wasting any of the resources we're lucky to have, I think brings a sense of joy and connection and aliveness. And then some other flavors of joy that came in, of wonder and curiosity, the joy of quiet and silence and solitude. Certainly for my introvert self, that can be a real relief. Being connected in nature, feeling our belonging there. The joy of art and creativity, dance, music, visual art, and of humor and playfulness, letting ourselves be silly. I love all the poems from monks hundreds and hundreds of years ago writing about playing with children, laughing with children. And also the courageous joy in these times of raising collective voice, right? Speaking, actively working against injustice in the world, I think also brings a different kind of aliveness and joy and connection. Mudita, the Brahmavihara, celebrating the joy of others, the happiness of others, wishing that that continue, and how that helps dispel comparing and jealousy. So all of these kinds of joy are really available to us in moments, right? In moments, if we're noticing, if we're receiving, we want to step into this and really drink these in whenever we can because it's so nourishing and life-giving. And I wanted to just see, I'm sure I missed so many. And so while I may not read them aloud, I just want to invite you, if you want, to just type in the chat any ways that you're inviting yourself into joy or noticing joy. And it may not be that word, right? Maybe some kind of flavor or permutation of it. And just wanted to end again with that quote, just a part of that quote. He said, I think what we're seeking is an experience of being alive so that our life experiences on the purely physical plane will have resonances with our own innermost being and reality, so that we actually feel the rapture of being alive. Mm. So thank you so much. And I am seeing people type in, so that's wonderful. Please just send those in. And as we set up our practice, folks can look at that and allow that also to help us settle in. So just let yourself transition really gently, maybe bringing the attention to the body. I'm seeing people already stretch and move a little bit. Mm. Maybe feel the connection here that people are sharing here with you practicing. Always can feel good to let the body stretch vertically, horizontally, three-dimensionally. Mm. Sometimes swaying the body a little bit just to feel for that balance at our base so that we really feel supported, connected to the earth. It can be helpful sometimes to invite the spine just to lengthen up even as we're rooted down. Letting the shoulders soften. Maybe the muscles in the face can soften. You can invite a couple deeper breaths and allow that to support just a little bit more opening, settling. Or if it's easier, we can let the breath just be soft. Receiving the body and the mind and heart as they are right now, maybe noticing what the energy is like. If the mind is moving particularly quickly in any one direction, if it's feeling tight, maybe a little open. Same with the body and the heart. And seeing if we can notice and receive without having to change. And if there is a gentle, gentle orientation to noticing, receiving any aspects of joy, any permutations of joy. Just let that intention be very, very light. And always coming back to the breath or sounds or sensations in the body when we need to anchor and steady a little bit. And as you settle, I'm aware that we've changed chat, so everything came to me. So I'll just read these really gently. Mhm. And just let yourself receive what people have shared in whatever way feels comfortable. So the joy of success, spring, kayaking in nature, the joy of doing less, watering the plants in the early morning, gratitude, the sweetness of joy, bird song, wind, sunshine, After 2 days of medical imaging, I'm grateful to be in this Sangha again. Sweetness of joy when holding a newborn. Thank you for your shares. And if in any moments you notice that it's hard to orient to joy in any of these ways, just really making room for that too. The importance of not pushing away struggle or pain, welcoming our resistance, and that that too is worthy of being known, worthy of being here.